Denny Hamlin is still on baby watch, says that if the baby's not here by the time he has to leave for Mexico City, then he's not going to Mexico City. Let's talk about that. Plus, power rankings post-Michigan.
Denny Hamlin has just delivered the ultimate bombshell that has NASCAR officials scrambling and completely terrified about what happens next. The three-time winner this season has officially declared that he's prepared to abandon the most historic NASCAR race in decades. And NASCAR's worst nightmare is about to become reality. What Hamlin just announced on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio has sent shockwaves through the entire motorsports world and proves that family loyalty trumps everything, even NASCAR's biggest international expansion efforts. Hamlin made the earth-shattering declaration that he will absolutely not travel to Mexico City for Sunday's inaugural Viva Mexico 250 if his fiancée Jordan Fish hasn't delivered their third child by the departure deadline. I said from the very beginning, if she hasn't had it by the time I need to leave for Mexico, then I'm not going to go to Mexico, Hamlin told SiriusXM. I think that that's the proper thing to do, but really, just letting her call the shots. I think that's the best thing. This isn't just any race that Hamlin is threatening to skip. This is NASCAR's most ambitious international venture in over 65 years. The Cup Series hasn't competed internationally for points since the late 1950s, making Sunday's event at Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez the most historically significant race in modern NASCAR history. NASCAR officials have invested millions in this Mexico City expansion, and having their most controversial and highest-profile driver potentially absent is their absolute worst-case scenario. What makes this situation even more dramatic is that Hamlin and Fish have been on baby watch for over 2 weeks now. Fish is over 40 weeks pregnant, well past her original due date of June 1st, which coincided with the Nashville race. Hamlin has successfully navigated 2 race weekends, Nashville and Michigan, while constantly being prepared to drop everything and rush home for the birth of their first son. The timing couldn't be more problematic for NASCAR. Unlike domestic races where Hamlin could quickly fly back to North Carolina, Mexico City presents logistical nightmares involving international customs, longer flight times, and complex travel arrangements that make last-minute departures nearly impossible. Hamlin himself acknowledged these complications during his Actions Detrimental podcast, explaining the stark difference between domestic and international travel. It's one thing when you're in Michigan and you're an hour-and-a-half flight away. There's no customs and I fly right into the airport. It's just not that in Mexico. I can't leave until we have the baby. Guess we're on track on Friday? I don't know. I've got to play this one by ear. NASCAR officials are desperately hoping that Hamlin makes the trip because his absence would be a massive blow to their Mexico City marketing efforts. Hamlin is currently third in the Cup Series standings with 494 points and 18 playoff points from his 3 victories and 3 stage wins this season. He's one of the most recognizable and polarizing figures in NASCAR, and his absence from such a historic event would significantly diminish the international attention and media coverage. However, NASCAR has already prepared for this scenario by implementing new waiver policies for the 2025 season. Competition officials specifically listed the birth of a child as one example of circumstances in which a driver could miss an event without forfeiting their playoff points or eligibility. This policy change suggests that NASCAR anticipated exactly this type of situation and wanted to avoid penalizing drivers for legitimate family emergencies. If Hamlin misses the Mexico City race, Ryan Truex, the younger brother of former Cup Series champion Martin Truex Jr., will step into the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Truex has been on standby for 2 consecutive weeks, even getting fitted into Hamlin's car and working in the racing simulator to prepare for potential race duties. Truex's NASCAR credentials are impressive, but limited at the Cup Series level. He's a 3-time Xfinity Series race winner with 102 Xfinity starts, but only 26 Cup Series starts, with none since 2014. His most recent National Series appearance was a 17th place finish at Daytona earlier this year with Sam Hunt Racing. What's particularly shocking about Hamlin's declaration is his unwavering commitment to family over career. When her body and her mind says that it's time, then that's what we'll do. And ultimately, I need to be there for her during post, birth, and all those things. Just going to make sure I spend the proper time with her, and obviously the racing will come second this week. This statement represents everything that NASCAR officials feared. a high-profile driver publicly declaring that racing will come second to personal priorities during one of their most important promotional events. Hamlin's brutal honesty about prioritizing family undermines NASCAR's narrative that their Mexico City expansion is the most important thing happening in motorsports. Adding to NASCAR's concerns is Hamlin's recent success on the track. His Michigan victory last weekend was his third win of the 2025 season, and he became Joe Gibbs Racing's winningest driver, surpassing Kyle Busch's 56 victories with his 57th career win. He also became the 10th driver in NASCAR history to win after his 700th start. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has added additional pressure to Hamlin's situation by delivering what he calls cold, hard truth about Hamlin's remaining career. Earnhardt predicted that Hamlin has approximately 6 more victory lane celebrations left in his career, based on historical data from drivers like Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick, who won 6 and 7 races respectively after their 700th starts. If Jeff Gordon won 6 and Harvick won 7, and they were on the higher end of the range, right? They were the ones who won more than anyone else, Earnhardt said. Could you imagine if he only wins 5 or 6 more races in his career? That sounds wild, but that's what the math will tell you. Right out in front of me, 6 more trips to the victory lane. That's a cold, hard truth. The end is near, brother. This sobering assessment adds urgency to every race Hamlin potentially misses, including the historic Mexico City event. Every opportunity matters when time is running out on a Hall of Fame career that's still missing the ultimate prize, a Cup Series championship. NASCAR officials are now in the unprecedented position of watching their biggest international promotional event potentially lose one of their most marketable and controversial stars due to circumstances completely beyond their control. The Mexico City race represents NASCAR's bold vision for global expansion, and Hamlin's potential absence symbolizes how personal priorities can derail even the most carefully planned corporate initiatives. As the NASCAR community watches Baby Watch unfold, Denny Hamlin has proven that some things are bigger than racing, even history-making international races. Will Hamlin make it to Mexico City? Or will NASCAR's worst fears be realized with their most controversial driver missing their biggest international moment? What do you think about Hamlin's family-first approach? Is he right to prioritize fatherhood over historic racing? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button if you support Hamlin's decision, and subscribe for updates on this developing story and all the latest NASCAR drama.